You are listening to the Slow Living Podcast, and I'm your host, Stephanie O'Day. What if I told you that you could truly have the life of your dreams, the life you've always wanted, one filled with abundance, joy, and a sense of purpose? It's absolutely possible, and I see it each and every day with my coaching clients. It all starts with learning how to slow down. You deserve to live the life you've always dreamt about. Let's get started. Hello, Slow Down Society. Welcome back to the podcast. We are on episode number 104, and this is about your 3-year plan. And this is really exactly what I guide my coaching clients through, and I'm so excited to record this because on this next episode, I'm going to have a former coaching client of mine who I actually worked with 3 years ago. And so she's going to come back on this next one, number 105, and talk about where she is after completing her 3-year plan. So I'm super excited about that next episode. So slow living. This is where it's at. It isn't chilling and doing nothing and I don't know, meditating on the beach and kumbayaing all day. That would be great. If we had all the time in the world to do nothing but, what's that term? Navel gaze, stare at your belly button all day long. That would be great. But most of us have a life and we've got responsibilities and we have bills to pay and milk to put in the fridge and kids to get out the door and college paid for and retirement and all of these things. Real life has an awful lot of moving parts. And what slow living is all about is calming the moving parts down, not feeling like you're behind, not feeling frantic that you have to do all of the things all of the time right this very, very, very second, or you'll fail. So people talk about work-life balance an awful lot, and I have spoken about this before on the podcast. So if this is sounds familiar to you, that's great. I actually am a huge fan of repeating myself because I really do believe that's when good ideas sort of permeate your subconscious and your brain starts percolating. And so balance isn't walking a tightrope. You don't have to do it this absolute perfect way. And if you don't, you're going to fall off and plummet to your death or something dramatic like that. No, you can literally climb down the ladder and crawl to the other side. It doesn't really matter how you get there or how long it takes to get there. But if you're doing things in this frantic, frenzied, go, hustle. If I don't do it right this second, it will never be done kind of frantic, frenetic energy. It's not sustainable. You will burn out. You absolutely will burn out. And so slow living is literally the story of the tortoise and the hare. You will get there when you get there. If we're lucky, life is long. You are not behind. And it is all going to be okay. So Beth is coming on this next podcast episode. If Beth's name sounds familiar, that's because she and I recorded episode number 35 together. And I think that was called Real Clients, Real Results, like Beth's story or something like that. So go back and listen to episode number 35. And then in episode number 59, I sort of call her out on something that came up in one of our calls when she was talking about being codependent. And I do not believe that she is codependent. And so I called her out on it and I explained that in that podcast episode. So that was 59. And when you hear from her tomorrow, not tomorrow, we're recording tomorrow. When you hear from her next week, episode number 105, you will realize that she's actually very powerful and confident and can make amazing things happen all on her own. Okay. So, 3-year plan. Why do I have my coaching clients and then also myself? Why have I shifted from a New Year's resolution type thing to a 3-year plan? In real life, when people want to completely and totally overhaul every aspect, and by every aspect, we're looking at all of the components of the peace pyramid: time management, health, finances, organization, and relationships. If people want to completely and totally transform all of those areas to have that elusive, calm, tranquil feeling of peace, that idea that when you climb into bed each night, you've got, today was a great day. I really rocked it. I did all of the things that I wanted to do. I did all of the things that I needed to do. And I feel really good. I don't feel behind. I feel empowered. I feel thoughtful. I feel purposeful. And I can tell that if I keep doing what I'm doing, I will get there when I get there. It's all going to be okay. That is the end goal. That's what we're trying to do. And so if someone comes to me and they're ready for full life transformation, we decide on a 3-year plan. And it's interesting because actually in education plans, which is the SIPSA, which is like, I don't even know. I don't know what it is, and I don't want to Google it right now while I'm live and all plugged in talking to you. But it's a 3-year educational plan. So if you're trying to, as a school district or as a school, and again, this is, and by again, I mean, I am recording this from California. So I really only know how the public school system in California works. But the SIPSA is a 3-year plan where you tell the school district and all of the constituents and parties in play and the state what your goals are and how you will get there in 3 years. And that's because it's just not practical. It's just not applicable to really think you're going to raise an entire school's reading scores by 3% by the next school year. It's just not possible. There's too many variables. And so in a 3-year plan for your life, if you want to completely and totally transform your life, doing it all in 1 year is really sort of, it's a defeating prophecy. You're just not probably going to get there. And then for many people, they have 5-year plans or 10-year plans, and that's fine. Absolutely daydream, dream big, envision where you're going to be in 5 years, what you look like, what you're going to wear, who you're surrounded by, what your house looks like, what kind of travel you're going to do. Dream that. I'm a huge fan of that, but when you're putting together action steps, 5 years seems so far away that it's really easy to dismiss the actioning because you think you have all the time in the world. And so you just kind of don't really do anything because 5 years seems so far away that your brain really can't wrap around how you're going to get from where you are to where you want to go. But in a 3-year plan, it's essentially what people think they're going to accomplish in 1 year when they start making massive New Year's resolutions and they're goofing around on their vision board and they're cutting out all their magazine pictures and this is what my backyard will look like and this is what my house will look like and this is what my body will look like and this is how my marriage will feel and my kids will go from texting all day long and ignoring me to sitting at the dining room table and we're having sparkling conversation and going through questions of the day. So thinking that all of those things will happen in the course of a year is not realistic. But if you start taking just very careful, slow baby steps towards where you want to go, not sweeping changes. We've all done sweeping changes. We know they do not work in the long term. But just start pointing. Just start pointing your compass, your GPS, your metaphoric GPS. Pull out your Dora the Explorer map and start inching towards where you want to go, I think you will be astonished how far you actually get in 3 years. In gardening, so not at this house, but in our last house, I wanted to put up vines all along the back fence. The back fence, the top part had lattice, and I wanted vines for some privacy from the neighbors. And the kids were little, and we were in the backyard an awful lot, and I wanted privacy. So I started doing, as I'm apt to do, a whole bunch of research, and learned way too much about vines. And the wisdom that kind of the old school gardeners shared about vines was the first year it sleeps, the second year it creeps, and the third year it leaps. So when you're working through your 3-year plan, if it doesn't seem like all that much is happening and you don't feel like you can actually visually see the evidence that something is happening, that momentum is building in that first year, decide you're a vine. Decide that all of this stuff is happening deep down inside. It's happening under the soil. You're building deep roots that are finding water. You're creating stability. You're planning new habits, new routines, new strategies that you're always going to kind of cling to. That's that first year of creating habits and sustainable action. And then that second year, you just keep doing what you're doing, and you will start creeping. You will start collecting evidence that your plan is working. And then year 3, that's where the leaping happens. That's where the massive growth happens. That's when you look at yourself in the mirror and you don't even recognize yourself because you have different thoughts, different feelings, different actions, and you literally have transformed. And you can't even believe. You'll go back and read past journal entries and like, oh my gosh, I really was spinning my wheels here. So that is the magic of the 3-year plan. So next week I will get Beth on the phone and I will pull out her coaching file and we'll go through what she wanted and what her deep vision was. And then now where she is 3 years later. Okay, if you have any questions about this, hit me up. This is what I'm here for. I love helping people. It's what I do all day long. If you want to work with me and we can map out your own version of your 3-year plan, because yours will not look like anyone else's. And that's what personalized one-on-one coaching is all about. It is how to fit your needs, your life, your families, your what ifs, yours, but what about this? This is, that's what it's all about. So, you can email me, steph@stephanieodea.com. We can hop on the phone. If you want to schedule your own phone call to see if we're a good fit, you can put yourself on my calendar at stephanieodea.com/mindset. If you want to see all that coaching entails and what the packages are, that's at stephanieodea.com/coaching. I'm going to drop a few extra just past episodes to listen to between now, when you're hearing this, and next week, when we're hearing Beth go through what action steps she took to get from where she was to where she is now. So her first few, the first time that she was on the podcast was episode number 35. And then again, 59, we talked about her thinking that she had codependent tendencies. 60, 4 more years. Episode number 63 was so that 4 more years part is actually a really interesting one. And I recorded that on my 46th birthday. And with the idea that if I kept doing what I'm doing for the next 4 years, will I meet all of the goals that I had set out for myself by the time I hit 50? So that's a great episode for you to listen to, and then map out your own 3-year plan. 63 is an encore episode, and it is how to get what you want when you want it. And then 64 is another encore episode, and it is about making and keeping your New Year's resolutions. You're hearing this if you are with me live when it first drops. You're hearing me in the end of the third quarter of this year, the end of September. October starts, and then we are full on winter holiday mode. So October, November, December just kind of get globbed together in this great big, huge kind of, I don't know, Play-Doh mismatch where the colors are all running together. And that's what it feels like. It feels like you are downhill skiing and you are just picking up speed before you hit the end of the year. And if you want to find a way to slow it down and really enjoy your holiday season and enjoy the people in your life and your family and make memories that count rather than feeling like you're checking things off a list and need to do this and need to make the cookies and need to wrap the presents. None of that feels good. That's not what the holidays are all about. The feeling you want to have is the feeling that kind of conjures up when you're watching a Hallmark movie of love, of connection, of togetherness, of tranquility. And so see if you can step into that and lean into that. And if you can't, reach out for help. That's what I'm here. That's what I'm for. As always, consider yourself loved and hugged. I think you are absolutely wonderful. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you for continuing to take care of yourself. Listening to this podcast absolutely counts as self-care. It was really funny. The other day, someone wrote into me and she said that she does this kind of like weekly reset of the house and it takes 20 to 30 minutes or so. And so she pops in her earbuds and listens while she goes through that kind of like cleaning the toilets and making and changing the sheets and all of the stuff that happens that takes about 20 to 30 minutes. And she listened to the podcast episode and I don't know, it kind of warmed my heart. It tickled me like, oh, okay, well, that's kind of cool. So anyway, however you listen along, just know that I'm super proud of you and I think you're wonderful. And thank you again. Take care and see you next time. Do you have a slow living story to share? Leave me a voicemail at stephanieodea.com/podcast with any questions, comments, feedback, or testimonials, and I will be sure to include it in an upcoming episode. Also, if you found value in this episode, please share it with your family and friends and subscribe through your favorite podcast provider. The more you share, comment, and leave positive reviews, the more people we can reach and share the slow living lifestyle and messaging. Thank you, Slow Down Society, and have an absolutely wonderful day.